Dear students, today in this class we are going to learn third lesson in English prose known as Jamaican Fragment. The author of the lesson is A.L. Hendricks. Before going to know about the lesson, let us know about the author A.L. Hendricks. A.L. Hendricks is a prolific writer. Some of his short stories appeared in the issues of the magazine Focus. He is a West Indian writer and his writings carry the flavor inherent in the Caribbean literature. The story Jamaican Fragment brings out the prejudice that almost every person suffers from when it comes to the denominational issues like color, caste and class. So, A.L. Hendricks, who is the author of this lesson, is a very good writer, and his stories have appeared in the magazine called Focus, and he is a West Indian writer. In his writings, we can see the flavor of Caribbean literature, and the story which we are going to learn, that is Jamaican Fragment, tells all about the prejudice that every person suffers when it comes to issues like color, caste and class. So Jamaican Fragment is a story which tells about the prejudice that is being suffered by the people in Jamaica. Now, let us know about the lesson. I am going to read first two paragraphs and afterwards I will explain those two paragraphs. Now listen to me, children. First paragraph. Every day I walk a half mile from my home to the rail track lines in the morning, and from the lines to my home in the evening. The walk is pleasant. You can see on either side red and green roofed bungalows, green lawns and gardens. The exercise is good for me, and now and then I learn something from a little incident. One morning, about halfway between my front gate and the rail track, I noticed two students playing in the garden of the more modest cottages. They were both very little boys. One was 4 years old, perhaps the other 5. The bigger of the two was a sturdy youngster, very dark, with a mat of coarse hair on his head and coal black eyes. He was definitely a little Jamaican, strong little Jamaican. The other little fellow was smaller but also sturdy. He was white with hazel eyes and light brown hair. Both were dressed in blue shirts and khaki pants. They wore no shoes and their feet were muddy. There were no They were not conscious of my standing there, watching them. They played on. The game, if it could be called a game, was not elaborate. The little white boy walked majestically up and down, and every now and then shouted in a commanding tone at the bigger playmate. The little brown boy dragged on quietly behind him and did what he was told. Now, let us know the meanings of the difficult words that are there in the two paragraphs children. Okay, let me write the meanings. First one, incident. Incident means something that happened. Next one, noticed or something that happens. Okay. Next one, notice, saw, observe, modest, not expensive, stir, strong and firm. Hazel eyes, reddish, brown eyes, conscious, able to see, hear, feel, elaborate, long, majestic, impressive, commanding, ordering, so they are some of the meanings for difficult words children. So let me tell you the meanings again. Incident means something that happens. Notice means saw or observed. Modest, not expensive. Sturdy, strong and firm. Hazel eyes, reddish brown eyes. Conscious, able to see, hear, feel. Elaborate, long, majestic, impressive, commanding, ordering. So they are the meanings. Now let me explain you the two paragraphs, that is first paragraph and second paragraph. Here the speaker is the author itself, A.L. Hendricks. A.L. Hendricks is sharing his experience, what he had when he was in Jamaica. Now, first paragraph. Every day I walk half a mile from my home to the rail track lines in the morning, and from the lines to my home in the evening. The walk is pleasant. So, A.L. Hendricks says that every day he used to go for walk. So, every day morning, early morning, he used to go for walk from his house to, there was a place where there were railway tracks. So, in the morning, from his home to railway tracks, he used to walk, and in the evening, from railway tracks to his house, he was coming back, and he was doing this every day. So, it was a pleasant walk for him. It was a pleasant walk for him. Morning, he used to go from his house to railway lines, and from railway track lines, he used to come back to his home in the evening. You can see on either side red and green roofed bungalows, green lawns and gardens. On both sides of the road, so what we can see is, according to A.L. Hendricks, we can see green roofed bungalows. On either side of the road, there were bungalows with a green roof and green lawns. On the roadside, both the sides of the road, there were green lawns and gardens. So we can see all these things on both sides of the road. The exercise is good for me. So the exercise which was done by A.L. Hendricks, the author, walking which he was doing, that exercise was good for his health, for him. And now and then I learned something from a little incident. So while he was going for walking, he used to see some incidents and he used to learn something from such incidents every day. Now and then he used to learn something from such incidents. Now, second paragraph. One morning, about halfway between my front gate and the rail track. So, A.L. Hendricks used to walk for half a mile. One day what happened one morning, when he started to walk, when he reached at one particular place, before his front gate and the railway track, what he did, he noticed two boys playing in the garden of the more modest cottages. So, A.L. Hendricks noticed two boys playing nearby the cottages, modest cottages. They were both very little boys, both were very young, both the boys were very young. One was 4 years old, another was 5. So the boys who were playing the game nearby the modest cottages. So one boy was 4 years old, another one was 5 years old. So A.L. Hendricks is sharing his experience, what he has seen while going for walk, and he is describing about that experience to us. The bigger one of the two was a sturdy youngster. So among the two boys, the bigger boy was very strong, sturdy, very dark, with a mat of coarse hair on his head and coal black eyes. So how was the boy? The big boy, 5 years old boy, very strong, young, very dark, and very coarse, very hard hair he had on his head, and coal black eyes. He was definitely a little Jamaican. So that 5-year-old boy, according to the observation that was made by A.L. Hendricks, was definitely a Jamaican boy. Strong little Jamaican. The other little fellow was smaller but also sturdy. The other boy was younger than that big boy. He was more, 4 years old. That boy was also very strong. He was white. So the first boy, 5-year-old boy, was black, and this 4-year-old boy was white, with hazel eyes and white, light brown hair. Hazel eyes. Hazel eyes means reddish brown eyes, and light brown hair. Both were dressed in blue shirts and khaki pants. So both the boys were wearing blue shirts, okay, and khaki pants. They wore no shoes. They didn't wear shoes, and their feet were muddy. So their feet was covered with mud. They were not conscious of my standing there watching them. They played on. Both the boys who were playing the game, they didn't notice me. They didn't recognize me. I was standing there. They were playing the game. The game, if it could be called a game, was not elaborate. Just it was a game. It was not a elaborate game. The little white boy walked majestically up and down. So what game they were playing, that was being explained by the writer. So in the game, the little white boy, he was walking majestically up and down. So he was walking, okay, to that side to this side. Every now and then, shouted in a commanding tone to his bigger playmate. So that young boy, 4 years old boy, was walking from this side to that side. Now and then he was shouting at the bigger boy who was 5 years old. The little brown boy dragged on quietly behind him and did what he was told. So the big boy, just he was following the instructions that were given by the little white boy, and the big boy, the black boy, okay, was doing that was being asked by the small boy or the little white boy. So this was the game that was being played by both, okay, the 5-year-old boy as well as the 4-year-old boy. So this game was seen by the author A.L. Hendricks. Okay, so this is the second paragraph, children. Third paragraph. Pick up that stick. The dark boy picked it up. Jump into the flowers. The dark boy jumped. Get me some water. The dark boy ran inside. The white boy sat down on the lawn. I was amazed. Here before my eyes, a white boy, for they were little more than babies, was imposing his will upon a little black boy. And the little black boy submitted. I puzzled within myself as I went down the road. Could it be that the little boy, a son of a house servant? I asked myself. No, they were obviously dressed alike. The little dark boy was a neighbor's child. I was sure of that. Then how was it that he obeyed so faithfully the white boy's orders? Was it that even as a boy he sensed that in his own country he would be at the white man's beck and call? Could he make a difference between himself and the white boy? And could he think that he was going to boss over the black man? I could find no answer. I could not bring myself to believe such a thing, and with my own eyes I had seen a little dark boy take orders from a little white boy. Obviously, he is social equal and younger and smaller. Were we as a race really inferior? So inferior that even in our infancy we realized our deficiencies and accepted a position as the white man's servant. So now I have read the third paragraph, fourth paragraph, fifth paragraph. Now let us see the meanings for difficult words. So here, amaze means surprise. Impose means to officially force a rule. Submit, to accept. Obviously, understood clearly or to understand clearly. Deficiencies, the state of having not enough. So they are some of the difficult words. Amaze, surprise, impose, to officially force a rule. Submit, to accept. Obviously, understood clearly. Deficiencies, the state of having not enough. Now, children, let us see what game was being played by the boys. Pick up that stick. The little white boy asking the big black boy to pick up the stick. So the small boy asked the big boy to pick up that stick. Then what did the big boy do, or the dark boy do? The dark boy picked up that stick. Jump into the flowers. Now the little white boy is asking the big black boy, the dark boy, to jump into flowers. The dark boy jumped. So what did the dark boy do? He jumped into the flowers. Get me some water. The little boy asked the big boy, the dark boy, to bring some water. The big boy brought some water for the little boy. The dark boy ran inside and brought some water. The white boy sat down on the lawn. So what the little boy was doing? He sat on the lawn. So all these were done by the big boy or the dark boy, and all these things were asked by the little boy, small boy. I was amazed. See, the author saw all these things and he was surprised to see all these things. The little boy, the little white boy, was asking the big boy to do all these works. So all these things were observed by the author, and thereby he felt amazing. He was surprised. Here before my eyes, a white boy, for they were little more than babies, was imposing his will upon a little black boy. So they were very young, they were very small. So though they were very small, the little white boy was imposing so many works on the black boy who was elder than him. He was imposing his will on black boy. And what the black boy was doing, the black boy was accepting whatever that is being told by the little white boy. So therefore, the author felt surprised. I puzzled within myself as I went down the road. So while going back to home, author was in confusion. What was happened there? What happened there? He put so many questions to himself. Let us see what questions were put by the author to himself. Could it be that the little boy, a son of house servant, the black boy who did all the work, might be the son of a house servant? Asked myself. So Hendricks asked himself whether that black boy might be son of a servant who was working in the house of that small white boy's house. No, they were obviously dressed alike. No. He might not be the son of a servant, because both of them were wearing same kind of dress. So thereby he got one more question. He might be the black boy, the dark boy, okay, might be the child of neighbor's child. I was sure of that. Then how was it that he obeyed so faithfully the white boy's order? If he was the son of a neighbor's, how that black boy accepted, obeyed so faithfully to that white boy, little white boy. So all these questions were running in the mind of the author. Was it that even as a boy he sensed that in his own country he would be at the white man's beck and call? So one more question. So that was black boy. The author says that the black boy, the dark boy might have sensed that in his own country they must obey the orders of such white people. Could he make a difference between himself and the white boy? Or the black boy wanted to make difference between himself and the white boy? So those questions were going on in the mind of the author. And could he think that he was going to be boss over the black man? So author felt that the black boy might have thinking that white boy would become the boss of black people in his country. I could find no answer. For all these questions of the author did not get the answer. Author could not find answers for his questions. I could not bring myself to believe such thing. Author could not believe what has happened. Why did that dark boy listen to the little boy, that little white boy? I could not bring myself to believe such a thing, and with my own eyes I had seen a little dark boy take orders from a white little boy. Obviously, is social equal and younger and smaller. Though both of them were equal, Socially, they were equal. They were smaller, younger. Then why did the black boy took the orders of the white boy? So this was a confusion to the author. Were we as race really inferior? Now the author felt that really as a race black people were inferior. So inferior that even our infancy was realized our deficiencies. Are we so inferior? Black people are so inferior to white and that accept the position of the white people. Okay. So, and accepted a position that the white man's servant. Black people have accepted, okay, accepted the white people as their boss. So all these questions ran in the mind of the author. Now, sixth paragraph, children. For a whole day, I went on asking these questions to myself. For a whole day, my faith in my people was shaken. When I passed by the afternoon, the little boys were not there. That evening, I thought deeply on the subject. Seventh paragraph. The next morning, the boys were there again and a man was standing at the gate watching them. I stopped and looked just to see what the white boy was making his little servant do. To my surprise, now the dark boy was commanding while the little white youngster did everything. The little dark boy was strutting imperiously up and down the lawn while the white youngster walked abjectly behind him. So now, in the sixth paragraph, you can see that the author was totally in confusion, asking so many questions, and he felt that, okay, he felt that for whole day my faith in my people was shaken. What did he feel? So whatever faith he had in his people was broken. When I passed that afternoon, the little boys were not there. So in the afternoon, when he went to that place, both the boys were not there. But whole day, the author was in confusion, asking so many questions. The next morning, the boys were there again. So the next morning, when Hendrix came for work, he saw those two boys again. But now it was totally different. So a man was standing there and watching the two boys. And now the author saw the two boys as well as the man who was standing there watching them. I stopped and looked just to see what the white boy was making his little servant. Now the author stood there and observed what the little boy was doing to the dark boy. To my surprise, now the author felt surprised that the black boy was commanding the white boy. And what the white boy was doing? Little white boy. The little white boy was doing everything that is told by the dark boy. Big dark boy. So the dark boy was walking up and down on the lawn while the white youngster walked abjectly behind him. So the big boy was walking up and down on the lawn. The white boy, small white boy, little white boy was following the black boy. Get me a banana. The little boy ran into the house and reappeared shortly with a banana. Peel it for me. The little white boy peeled the banana and handed it to his dark master. Now the dark boy asked the little boy to get him a banana. So therefore the little boy ran into the house and brought a banana for him. Now the dark boy asked the little white boy to peel the banana. The little white boy peeled banana for the dark boy and gave that banana to the dark boy. Ninth paragraph. I saw it now. It indeed was a game I had played as child. So now I saw it. I felt it was a game. Definitely it was a game which I used to play when I was a child. Each boy took it in turn every alternative day to be the boss, the other the slave. So what was the game? The game was that one should act like a boss, another one should act like a slave. It had been great fun to me as a youngster. When A.L. Hendricks was young, used to play this game and used to enjoy this game. Used to get a lot of fun by playing this game. I smiled and I remembered. So, author remembered his childhood days and his game that was played by him and felt very happy. I looked at the man standing by the gate. So, Hendricks looked at the man who was standing at the gate, who was observing these two children. He was a white man. I remembered what had happened. I remembered that I had taught yesterday. So, whatever that was taught by author yesterday, he remembered that now. He, no doubt, I thought to myself, was wondering if the black race is superior to the white. So the man who was standing there might be thinking that the black race would become superior to white. I laughed gently to myself. How silly we grown-ups are to misinterpret a child's action. So now A.L. Hendricks felt that elders are very silly to understand the things, okay, in a improper way. This man, I said to myself, will be worrying all day. Perhaps he thinks the black will in the end rule over the whites. So the man who was standing there might be thinking that one day the black people would rule the white people. Now I'll try to clarify and drive away the doubts from his mind. Now the author felt that he wanted to clarify the doubt that was there in the mind of the man who was standing there and observing these two boys playing. Perhaps you are thinking that one day or the other the blacks will rule over the whites. So now author went to the man and asked, I think you might be thinking that one or the other day the blacks will rule over the whites. I know you do so, for just saw how the black commanded the white. I know that you may be thinking what I said now, and you have seen that how the black boy was commanding the white boy. But gentlemen, don't have any such wrong notions, for just that is only a game. So the author asked the man not to worry about the game, because the children, what they were playing, it was just a game. So therefore the author asked the man who was standing there not to have such wrong notions. Just yesterday I saw the little white boy commanding the black boy. Only grown-ups are silly, aren't we? Said I. Yesterday I saw both were playing, and yesterday the small boy was commanding the black boy. Today the black boy is commanding the small boy. So therefore we should not be silly to have or to have develop such a wrong notions. The man was surprised and my outburst. He looked at me smilingly. So the man who was standing there, he felt surprise and outburst and smile. So thereby the author was outburst. I know all about the game, he said. The man who was standing there, he said that I know all about the game. The boys are brothers, my sons. Those two boys are brothers and they are my sons. He pointed to the fair brown woman on the veranda who had just come out to call in the children. So by that time, a woman came out of the house, standing in the veranda, and she was calling her children. He showed that woman and told the author that that woman was his wife. So that woman was fair brown woman in color. I smiled, my spirit laughed within me. So hearing the words of the man was standing there, A.L. Hendricks smiled, even he laughed within him. This is Jamaica. This is Jamaica. I said to my heart, this is my country. So this is my country, my people. I looked at the white man. So the white man told that I am in Jamaica and my heart is Jamaican heart, and these are my people. This is my country. That was said by the man who was standing there. I looked at the white man. The author looked at the white man. He smiled at me. So the man looked at the author and smiled. We will miss the train if we don't hurry, he said. If we don't go now, definitely we are going to miss the train. So this is all about the story, Jamaican Fragment. So here the author wants to tell about the prejudice that we suffer whenever someone look us with a mean mind. So we should feel that all of us are just like brothers and sisters, and all the people of our country are people of they are the people, they are the brothers and sisters of us. So in this way the story was ended. Okay children, thanks a lot.